Hey NBA 2K My League fans, in this video I'm going to walk you through how to find the best plays in NBA 2K so you can build a custom playbook in your My League files that's better tailored to your personnel and make you a better play caller. It's kind of the foundation. If you're new to the channel, I am Coach 2K. If you love basketball and love NBA 2K, then you're going to want to subscribe to my channel. Be sure and do that and click the bell to get notified whenever I upload anything new so you don't miss a single NBA 2K video I put out. So with that, let's get started and walk you through how to find the best plays in NBA 2K. Okay, so this is part of my NBA 2K My League expansion series. I'll put a link to that up in the corner of the video so you can start that from scratch. But we're using the Cincinnati Lions here. We got a roster of guys that are not superstars, and we're going to try and see what kind of talent we have and evaluate it and see how we can be more productive on the floor offensively. And part of that is going to be by putting together a pretty decent playbook. And so these are the steps I would take to find the best place to put in that playbook. Alright, now within the coach game plan, there's a playbook setting, and you can choose different playbooks for different teams. What a lot of people do is they'll go in and they'll just use a specific team's playbook that they like. There's some pluses to doing that, especially if you're going to be playing online. You want to use the same playbook all the time. But I like to create my own custom playbook and put my own plays in it. So the first thing that I would do is you notice here you'll have a couple of playbooks that you can use as users. And so I'm going to assign this to the second of the two playbooks, because this is going to be kind of my sandbox where I'm going to try and work on plays that I want to add in there. And so we're going to start by choosing the user playbook 2. And then we're going to edit the playbook, and you can see this is user playbook 2 up in the left hand corner there. And we're going to delete all the plays that are in the playbook. Because this is where we're going to kind of put plays that we're working on. And you can see I have one play left here in this version of NBA 2K. I got to leave one in there. And then we got to figure out what plays we want to put in here. Now you can take a few approaches. One, you could try and just do by play type. So on the right hand side you can see there's 3-point plays, pick and roll, and so on. And you can try and find the best plays per category. The other thing you could work on is by trying to find the best plays by like offensive set, like all the best horns plays. So you could just load all the horns plays in and work on them. What I'm going to do here is look at my players on my roster, because my goal is to make my players better and see who's good at what, and then try and find plays that work to their strengths. So here's another look at my roster, and you can tell from an overall rating standpoint, I don't have any superstars here from a rating standpoint. My best rated player is rated 76, so I've got to really dig deep in to look at, just because a guy is 76 rated overall doesn't mean he's not any good. He's going to be good at some stuff, and you got to find out what that stuff is. So one of the ways you can do that is just kind of look at the ratings here. You can see here Bonzi Harris, he's an 89 rated close. Here's Darren Pack, he's 94 rated mid open. So that's a very good rating for an open jump shot. So if I go into his signature badges, I can see he's got a mid-range deadeye, pick and popper. So this tells me that one of the best things I can do is find some mid-range pick and pop plays that would work well with Darren Pack, so I can put him in a spot where he's going to do something he excels at. Once I do that, then I'm going to take that player into freestyle practice mode, and I'm just going to look if any of his strengths are even stronger with hot zones. So like in this case, even though he's a 94 rated mid-range shooter, he doesn't have any hot spots, so they're all neutral spots. If let's say this one here was a hot spot, well then I'd want to try and find plays that would put him in that spot, so when he took that shot he'd have an even better chance of making it. So you can see he has a 3-point hot spot, but none of them in the mid-range. And also what I'm going to do while I'm in here is I'm just going to take some practice shots with him from different spots on the floor just to get used to shooting with him, and that way I can learn how to be even more effective with him in terms of his pick and pop game in the mid-range. Alright, now once I've done that, then I go back to the user playbook 2 that I'm kind of using as a sandbox, and then I put plays in here that will match up with that player's strength. So in this case it's the pick and fade mid-range, and I add the plays from the play catalog into the playbook just for that specific type. Now in this case there were only 7 pick and fade mid-range plays, so it's not like I have to like sift through hundreds of plays. You know, like some of the other play types do have a lot of plays in them, and it'll take a little bit longer to evaluate them. In those cases I might take 5 or 10 at a time and just kind of do them in smaller groups. But in this case I'm just going to put all 7 in, and these are the plays that we're going to evaluate to use specifically with Darren Pack. Now the next thing I'll do is I'll go into this specific player and I'll look at the play types that are associated with the player. In this case the pick and roll man, you can see it's already assigned to Darren Pack. Those 7 plays already show up on the right hand side here. So I know it's going to be the full catalog of plays that I'm taking a look at. Now depending on the player, play type, not every play will show up over there. You'll just kind of have to pay attention to that. I can't tell you specifically. And then what I do is I usually take a screenshot of this before I make changes here, but I just go ahead and shut all these other plays off. That way when I start practicing I know the only plays that are going to be in his playbook that I'm going to take a look at are the pick and roll plays. In this case it's going to be the pick and fade mid-range. Now the next thing I'll do is I'll go into practice plays and I'll choose the player that I want to work on with these specific plays. So you can see here I got Darren Pack's chosen, and you can see the 7 plays here that I toggle between, and I'm just going to go through each play one at a time and kind of start evaluating it. And in this case I'm going to demo the play. I want to see how the CPU runs it, and if the CPU can run it good then I probably can too, but if the CPU can't run it very well, then I'll just go ahead and cross that one off my list right then. So the first play we're going to evaluate is 65 fist 1-3. So we're going to choose that play, and then we're going to go to demo play. Now when we demo play, this will show you the CPU running it, so you can see here, and we can find out if it's effective or not. Now I look at this play and I'm like, well, there's not a lot happening here. There isn't very good spacing, and it didn't result in a score. So here, pick and fade mid, it looks like it's pretty easy to defend, and even the CPU's having a tough time running this play, even though it looks like they branched out of it a little bit, and we're still able to maybe score there. So I would kind of eliminate this play right off the bat because I just don't like the spacing. I don't like how the computer's running it, and I figure if the computer can't do it, I can't either. Now after I have the CPU demo the play, then what I'll do is, even if I don't like the way they run it, sometimes I'll still go ahead and run it myself just to see what I think. And then I'll just kind of start working with the play to see what kind of actions I can come out of with it, and see if there's anything that I do like about the play. So there you can see there's a lot of help coming, and I might be able to get a corner shot there. So when you're evaluating these plays, you also have to be kind of cognizant of the fact that you're going to see some opportunities in ways that the play wasn't really designed to do. Like here, I got that shot. If he knocks it down, he didn't knock it down. Now, even though he didn't knock that shot down, that tells me that that's a good opportunity to get an open look out of this play, and that's what I'm looking for. Open, good looks that these plays develop. So even though I might choose this play to try and get Darren Pack open, my real goal might be to get that open look from the corner if I can find the right guy there in the corner that can hit that shot consistently. Now in evaluating these plays, I like this play a little bit better, has a little bit better spacing with just 2 guys on one side of the court. In addition to trying to figure out if I can find the initial action of a pick and fade mid-range shot or an open look in another place in the play, I also want to try and think about Well, is there a possibility here that I can create a mismatch if the defense is switching these screens? And that's one thing that I'll have to kind of take a look at when I'm playing. Like the last game I played, I noticed that the Boston Celtics were switching screens, and so when there was an off-ball screen, they would switch, and it gave me an opportunity to get a big man in the post and get an easy score inside. So same kind of thing can happen here on an on-ball screen, where if I can create a switch here, I can immediately get it in the post, maybe call a post up and take advantage of that mismatch, or get the bigger man on a smaller point guard where maybe I can take advantage of him. But you'll just kind of have to play with trial and error on these and see what develops, and it won't always work. Some plays I found are more effective than others. Now these mid-range plays aren't as good. You see there I've got the help came, and I discovered that by running the play in practice. So those are the things you're going to want to kind of look for. And some plays just kind of play better to your strengths. Sometimes they'll play better depending on how a team's playing you, and you're going to have to get good at reading the defense and, you know, identifying probably first which plays kind of work to your strengths too as a player who plays NBA 2K, and what you like to do in addition to how they're playing you on the floor. Now after I get done in here, then what I do is I go over to scrimmage mode and take a look at how the play works out there too. Now usually what I do before I go into scrimmage mode is I go ahead and take out the plays I know I'm not even going to bother practicing, and I put my maybes and my definites in, leave those into the playbook, and then I go into scrimmage mode. Now once in scrimmage mode, then I can start working on my mechanics of how I call plays, and I can figure out where the plays are. And I can work on my timing and setting up the screen, and I didn't get the look I wanted. So if I want, I can kind of continue to work on the play and see what I think. And there we got a good look, and he knocked it down. Now while you're working on these plays to see what you think of them, the other thing you'll want to do is switch sides of the floor. You'll also want to change which player initiates the play. So in this case, instead of using my point guard, I'm using my shooting guard just to see if the defense plays me any differently. When you're doing certain plays, you'll be able to see if it puts a player in a better position to get an open look if somebody else initiates the play. With some play types, you know, instead of passing the ball because the play asks you to pass it, you might hold on to it to see if other branches develop. And you'll just kind of work with the play and kind of repetition to kind of see what you can get out of it. And so, you know, here we're going to initiate the play with our shooting guard, Zhang, and see if he can come up with a better look. And we do, and ends up with a layup. So in that case, that wasn't the play that we were looking for, but it still gave us a high quality look. Now, once I've evaluated the plays, then what I do is I go back to my coach game plan, I switch to playbook 1, and then I'll add these plays into my main playbook. So you can see here I've got my 4 pick and fade mid-range plays. I really only like these 2, but I usually like to start with 4 per category because there's 12 play types. 4 times 12 is 48. You can have 50 plays in a playbook. So that gives me kind of a way to kind of, you know, start working with these plays. It's a lot more manageable. And then I'll want to take these plays into the game situations and see how effective they are. It could be that every time I run 90 fist 1-3 that I never get anything out of it, and I'll just want to delete it from my playbook, and I might end up just with these 2. It could be I decide never to run any pick and fade mid-range plays because I have other plays that might be way more effective. So it's just a trial and error process to kind of go through the plays that kind of fit what you're trying to do. Once you have your initial playbook, then it's a matter of reading the defense and trying to create situations in the game based on what you see on the floor. You know, are your players being played tight? Can you create a mismatch off of an off-ball screen? And those are things that we'll try and highlight as we go forward to try and hone in on what specific play types to call and specific situations on how the defense is playing me, and just try and look at the players' strengths and how they do in the games, and try and align the best play types up for them. So that's kind of how I go through and evaluate the plays in the playbook, and I hope those tips help you out, and you can kind of see what I'm doing behind the scenes to kind of help my team get better on the floor by improving the quality of plays that I have in my playbook and the execution of those. All right, let me know in the comments what you think and how you set up your playbook. You got any other tips? Because other people read those comments. And in the meantime, I am Coach 2K. I'll see you on the court in the next video.